Hi everyone and welcome to another card making video. In this video I'm making this cute winter themed card that you can send all year round. The online shop Crescent Creation gifted me some crafting supplies that I will use in this video and some upcoming videos as well. Thanks for that! If you want to check out Crescent Creation, you can find a link in the description. So without further ado, let's get started. As always, I start with coloring my images. I use my Copic markers for that and I put the color number on the left of my paper so you know which color number I use. The images both come from the Yeti or Not set from Lawn Fawn and are stamped with Lawn Fawn jet black ink. I like to stamp them in my MISTI. This way I can stamp multiple times till I have a nice crisp impression. If you want more details on any supply I use during the video, be sure to check out the blog post I linked in the description to learn more about that. If you want to skip watching me color, you can skip to the time that pop-ups on the screen now. You can also find the clickable time link in the description. Next up is adding highlights with a white gel pen. I already die cut the images with the matching dies off screen before coloring. I finally have the Build a Snowman die set from Lawn Fawn. I cut the biggest snowman out of textured paper. I used watercolor paper for this. For the scarf I went for a nitpicky winter 6x6 paper from Lawn Fawn and I aligned the scarf die that goes around the neck so that the pattern of the paper is in the middle. The scarf ends are randomly placed on the smaller pattern below that. For the ear warmers I used two different shades of red. The mittens are from an older nitpicky 6x6 paper. This round die fits behind the face of the snowman to fill in the eyes and the mouth, so I do that out of black as well as two little circles that you can use as coal buttons. Its little carrot nose out of a dark orange color and the mitten rims out of a dark green. And last, his arms out of some brown. Now that everything is cut, I like to add some shading to some pieces. I use Distress Oxide speckled egg and a small blending brush to add some color around the edge of the snowman. This will add a little dimension and a frosty feeling. I quickly wipe my glass work surface clean and continue with adding some rustic wilderness to the scarf pieces. Now it's time to assemble the snowman. I start with gluing the black piece behind its face. I glue the pieces of the earmuffs together and glue them to its head. Now I'm placing the scarf and glue the pieces together and then glue the completed scarf to the snowman. I cut a piece of the hands so they won't peek out from behind the mittens. I glue the rims on the mittens and the mittens on the hands. Lastly, I add the colls and the arms to the body. Because I want to add some different things and textures to this card, I use a quickie glue pen to add some glitters to the snowman. I add a little glue at a time, sprinkle on some glitters and shake the excess off. I do the same for the bottom half of the letters. The letters are cut out of Lawn Fawn Rainforest cardstock with the Oliver's ABCs. With the largest rectangle out of the outside-in stitched rectangle stackables, I cut a piece of white cardstock that's suitable for ink blending. I'm going to blend a simple gradient with Distress Oxide peacock feathers and worn lipstick. I blend half of each color and go back and forth between the colors to really blend them together nicely in the middle. I spray some water with my Distress sprayer and dab the excess off with a paper towel. I let this dry really well before I continue with the next step. I'm going to add snowflakes with one of the two snowflake background stencils and I do this with white stencil paste. This will add another texture to the card. I lay the stencil in place and then flip it over to temporarily hold it in place with some purple tape on the back. I use the Lawn Fawn stencil paste and I keep it stored with some plastic wrap directly on the paste. This prevents it from drying out in the jar. The Distress Oxide releases some color when it gets wet from the paste, so I prefer to use a small amount of paste since I don't want to put back colored paste into the jar of white. I prefer to scrape everything really well, so you get a nice thin layer of texture on your background. I carefully pull the stencil off the paper and clean the edges a bit now the stencil paste is still wet. Now I let this dry really well and wash off my stencil and tool right away so the stencil paste doesn't dry up on there. I made a craft paper card base. With the large stitched rectangle stackables, I cut a piece of striped patterned paper. I adhere this to my card base with my ATG gun. The next step is adhering my dried background with some tin foam tape. This will add some dimension to the card. I use my cleaning rag to make the tape a little less sticky so it's easier to align the background in the right place. Now it's time to assemble the rest of the card. I first glue the Yetis to the snowman. I want the snowman in a little angle to the left and one of the Yetis standing next to it. The other Yeti is going behind the snowman. This will create some dimension as well, besides it's super cute. When that's done, I lay the snowman in the spot where I want it and start to lay down the letters that will form cool. I heat emboss 2 sentiment pieces from the Yeti or Not set and I use one of the everyday sentiment banners dies to cut it out. I partially die cut it by letting a part pop out between the 2 plates of my die cutting machine. Now I can move the die over so I can cut the other side and get a nice small banner. I repeat this for the other sentiment part as well. I lay those in place as well, and now that I know for sure that the cool letters are in the right place, I can start gluing those down. It's a little bit difficult with the textured snowflakes, but if you hold it for a bit it will stick down right. When that's done, I use tin foam tape to add the banners in the right spot. Now I'm adding foam tape to the snowman as well, so it will pop off the card for a bit as well, adding some dimension. To finish off my card, I want to add these opal pearls from Crescent Creation to add a little extra to the card. I use some glossy accents for this, because it holds these kind of embellishments really well. And with that, my card is finished. This card turned out so adorable. I love how all the different elements add a lot of textures and interest to the card. I'm not the biggest glitter fan, but I think it adds a lot to this card as well, next to all the different other textures. It gives a really frosty feeling. Be sure to check out Crescent Creations. They have a great variety of craft supplies available. I linked the website in the description. I hope you enjoyed watching my video and that you feel inspired to get crafty as well. If so, please consider leaving a thumbs up, subscribing to my channel and ringing the bell to receive a notification when a new video is up. Thanks for watching, see you next time, bye!